Welcome back, everybody. This is Mutual Minds podcast. I'm Isabel.
And I'm Tamera.
And today we want to talk about how I feel like everybody is literally going through a midlife, quarter life, and whatever else crisis.
Like, it seems like we are genuinely all collectively going through it, and I don't know what's going on.
It's
like,
so interesting because, obviously, things are always happening in everyone's life, but I never have seen it this bad. And, especially people that, I thought are killing it in life and are have the dream job or have the dream family or house or whatever. And even these people are still just more than struggling. We are at the bottom of the tadpole.
Yeah.
But before we go into that, I do want to do our typical peak in our pits.
Yep.
What is your peak in your pit of this week, if you even have one? For either.
Okay, so as you guys know, we've also been going through it. And the other day, I got an order for $28, and that is the most I've ever seen.
I never even thought that DoorDash could even do that. That was really crazy.
I didn't think that was possible. I literally was so hyped the whole night. I was like, hell yeah. Went and got ice cream after. Amazing. That was my peak. My pit, I would say, if I had to think of something, the state of our house, which again relates to us collectively going
really
through it.
Bad. I don't know how we have let it get to this point.
When we first moved here, it was cleaning constantly because we were so proud and excited for this apartment. Still are, but with us just going through it and honestly not being home much anymore because we are doing DoorDash almost the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
We're just are not home, and then we come home and we're tired. It's so weird. We've just got so fixated on doing DoorDash that
we have to.
It's we're addicted to it though. Well,
I feel like you're addicted to it. I
see you check the app too.
I do, but I feel like you check the app at all times of the day and you are ready to go.
Very true.
I'm just checking just to see. I'm not getting up off of my bed.
I know. Every time Isabel, we have a goal of each section. So we'll do lunch and dinner and we switch off. And I'll be okay, Isabel, we're gonna get $50 each today. That's $100 a day.
Nope.
Isabel's oh, I only made $20. That's fine. And I am nowhere near a hustler, grinder person, but with DoorDash.
I mean, DoorDash is literally a luxury to be able to do that, to have a car that actually can drive you places without breaking down, and you can just casually make $50 off of that is crazy.
Although
so you might as well be a hustler.
Although my car has been a little wackadoodle.
Yeah.
She's been making the sound specifically when we make a right turn. And we know we need to go check her out, but for right now, she's going to just have to wait.
My peak in my pit, I would say my pit was last night because I was doing DoorDash. It was my turn. And I just felt like everything towards the end was going wrong.
That was really annoying.
Customers were not answering. To me, I'm if you were ordering food, I feel like you should be on the app or have the app open somewhere because you are waiting for someone to literally deliver you food. That is such a luxury. And I just feel if you live in an apartment or you live in a hotel or some type of thing, I feel if I'm asking you, what is your gate code? I would feel like you would want to get the food and you would respond to the people that are asking you how to get in so they can give you your food to your door. But I guess not everybody thinks the same. So that was a little bit frustrating because we didn't end till 9 o'clock at night, and I really don't like doing DoorDash that late. But I would say my peak was that we went to the Mueller's Farmers Market.
Oh,
and that was really fun because you guys know us. We stay at home all the time because we like to. But I definitely think we've been struggling with trying to find things to do and getting out in the sun a little bit more because it is just so hot. So the farmer's market was perfect because it starts at 10. And it was like right before it got like really, really hot. So that was really fun for us to go to, take some photos. We made a little cute vlog for you guys. Yeah, I think that was my peak.
Yeah, if you ever come to Austin or live here and you've never been, I think Mueller is such a cute little area. It's like so small and it's like right outside of downtown, but you're not in downtown.
Yeah.
We always say like if we do like stay in Austin longer or decide to switch apartments, we would love to be in that area, even though it is a little bit
beautiful.
expensive. It's so cute.
Everyone has been going through it. And I don't know if you guys have seen this too, but like I literally log into TikTok and I see like so many people having mental breakdowns at the same time. And it's comforting, but it's also like, wow, okay, so the people that I thought are doing fantastic are not doing fantastic, but I thought if I was going to get to their spot, that I would be doing fantastic, but they're at that spot and they're not doing fantastic. It's just really fascinating to me because I feel like collectively we're all just like in a funk lately, and I don't know what is going on.
I don't know. People are saying Mercury is in retrograde, and maybe
I don't know what the hell that means, but I believe it.
Maybe that is just it. I don't know, but like, I swear I go on TikTok and like every other video is someone saying that like they're depressed and they just quit their job, or that they're switching their entire career,
or that they like moved across the country and they hate where they live and now they're stuck in a lease, or they can't find an apartment in New York, or they're like they have $5 in their bank account and rent is due in a week. Like it's
crazy.
Or like changing careers. Like so many people.
I see so many people that are like, I've been doing this career for 12 years, but I'm going to be a painter. And then I'm like, wow.
Yeah, and it's like people that have like big careers that are like in tech or something, or like doctors, and then they're like, you know what, I want to be an influencer, or I want to be a painter, or I just want to sit at home for a second. And like there's just like a lot going on. And the reason we wanted to talk about this is because we have also been struggling with this. We've done like a few episodes kind of relating to this and like our challenges that we've been facing this year. I feel like this move has been great in many ways, but I also feel like it has opened our eyes to a lot of things that we've been struggling with, and maybe we've always been struggling with, but because we were like younger in certain days and times, we felt like we can like push past a few things. And we had this conversation the other day, which is crazy. But yeah, I feel like we're kind of in a spot right now where we kind of feel just
like stuck,
and in so many different ways. I guess we can go into that, of just like how things have been.
I mean, I think from like a creator standpoint, we have seen like probably like 10 or more different influencers make TikTok saying that like they're going back to school, they don't want to be an influencer anymore, or they want to be an influencer and they have millions of followers and they're doing Uber Eats too, like just like we are. Yeah. And then it kind of like, you shouldn't ever compare yourself to people, but it is hard when like you see someone with millions of followers saying that they're not getting paid from this job, and then we obviously have significantly less, and then it's like, oh wow, we thought we were like at the point of doing this and being like completely dependent on it, but technically any freelance job that you do, you can't really
it's not consistent no matter how much you have.
Yeah, you can't ever expect to make a certain amount consistently because it's just up in the air. But I think like seeing so many influencers say the same thing all at once has been very eye-opening, and I really applaud them for talking about it, because we all, whether you're in the like creator space or you just have a regular job, I think we all compare ourselves to different people online. And so hearing these people admit and like come out and say like they're not making money from this and they're doing other little things to make ends meet is very I don't know, it's just like I love the transparency.
Like eye-opening.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people had the wrong idea, and a lot of people did start quitting their jobs and stuff. But you should never just quit your job because you're listening to one other person or like 10 other people that have done the same thing, because you don't know what they did before that. They could have like not went to college and don't have loans to have to pay back or whatever the case may be. So I definitely think it's good to like follow your own passions, because that's what you want to do at that right time, and you have money in your own bank account to do X, Y, and Z and not listen to other people. But I think for you, it's been even more healing because you've kind of been struggling with like the world of social media just as a whole, of like being a consumer, but also being on the other end of things of being a creator. And to now
Mm-hmm.
hear other creators say like they also feel kind of similar to what you're feeling and how they kind of want to take a break from social media as a creator, but also as a consumer.
Yeah, I've been like struggling with social media a lot lately, and I don't know if we've mentioned this in our other podcast or not, but I don't know. I just like I've had a hard time just like having fun on it, because I feel like even though it's just so much consumption, because it's like even though like the videos of people like being open and honest about things are healing, it also, it doesn't feel good to hear that other people are struggling, and then like seeing like the news and like
It's
people that are like,
consumption one way or another, whether it's
yeah,
healthy or not.
yeah, and then I don't know, and then I've been having like a hard time, like I know this sounds maybe like so depressing and negative, but a hard time like finding like purpose in like creating, because sometimes like for like my own personal account, I like to do like, I love makeup and I love doing my makeup, but sometimes I like post a video and then I'm like, what is this like like this is not serving anybody. Like there's so many like big things going on in the world, and like me posting a makeup video just isn't doing anything. And like the main point is that it's like a passion, and like that is supposed to be sometimes the only point of something is just because you like to do it. But I feel like I post things with the intent of it like being a job. Like I want
Yeah.
to do this as a job. And I think like I need to get back to viewing social media as like a creative outlet and less of a job.
Yeah.
I think that's what ruined it.
I
for
think
me.
once you like pair it to a job, then the only way to enjoy the content is if you make money.
Yeah.
But that defeats the whole purpose of things being fun, because I think when we first started doing this and we were not getting paid for anything and it was actually just like a creative outlet, I think that makes things a little bit easier to like see it from a different perspective, because it was like you just had the passion of creating a video, and then if a brand did mention you and like say something to you, that was like, wow, like someone actually like believed in what I like took time to make, and like that made me feel better. But now it's like, since you've been doing this for X amount of years, now it feels like, okay, like that should be coming to you because we have made this as a job. So now we're just like expecting brand deals all the time, but like that's one, unrealistic as a freelancer, but also now it's like, now we're just expecting money and we're expecting validation from like certain types of people, but then that's not fun.
Well, yeah, but like the thing is too is that like business has been slow for us. So
Yeah.
like not only was I
The pressure's on.
expecting to like make money, and I don't mean like money, I just mean like enough to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Or to pay one bill. But because things have been slow recently, like not getting any kind of like validation of like the work that we're putting in for the videos, then I've been like, well, this is just not worth it anymore. But like the sole purpose of doing social media is supposed to be because it's fun and because it's like a creative fun thing, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because I see like newer creators now creating videos that have like 15, 20,000 followers. And like at that time we were getting paid. It was dirt money, but like we were getting things here and there, or at least PR. And like they aren't even getting PR or payments for anything, but they're like just so excited to like post, and like I'm like, wow, like they should really be getting paid because their videos are actually good and like they have good engagement and stuff. But like they're just like so happy to like start something. And it like makes you think of like, wow, like I used to feel that at some point in this career. But with everything, I think the issue is that with everything, things either get boring or you just want to add something more to it because it can't always be inspiring to do the same thing
Yeah, literally
all the
any
time.
job in the world. Like at some point, I feel like you have to go through a period where you need to like get inspired about it because it gets repetitive doing the same thing, like no matter what the job or field is.
Yeah.
And I think that's why like I've had to take a step back a little bit. I don't know if you guys have even noticed on like our TikTok or anything, but like it's I've been like a little bit less in the picture just because I like just have no good feelings about social media. Like I just like haven't even been thinking about it. And it's so crazy because literally 3 months ago, like I wanted this so badly to be my job. But yeah, I kind of stepped back from it because I want to love it again because I do love doing this and it's such a privilege to even be doing something like this with my love of my life, and to have this little business that we do together is such a privilege. And so I think stepping back is going to like make me fall in love with it again. But that's not to say that like we're quitting social media or anything. Like we've just been like trying to either post more when we feel like it, or Isabel has kind of taken over a little bit, and I just feel like that's just what has to happen, or else I'm just going to like be completely out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want that because it is so fun when it is fun to do this with you. And we've built like such a nice community of people over there on TikTok specifically.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that. I want to fall in love with it again. So I think it's sometimes important to like step back from things so that you can fall in love with them, especially if it is your passion. New York was such a hard time for me at the end of our time there, but when I go look at our videos, I'm like, wow, I look so happy there, and I was so full of like energy and life.
It's only a portion of your time there.
It was only a portion of the time there, but like seeing that, I'm like, maybe New York wasn't that bad, and like maybe, but I think it's just because it's been a few months, so now all the bad feelings of how I felt, I don't feel those things anymore because I'm not in that environment. So now when I look at the videos when we were having great days, I'm like, wait, I look like I'm having so much fun.
Yeah.
So that's caused like a quarter life crisis where we're like, dude, leaving New York, was that the right choice to make? Is Austin the right place to be? That's another thing. And then we're like, should we move somewhere else after Austin and try somewhere else? And I think in general, like in your 20s, like going and traveling and living in different cities is a good thing because
that's the only way to know where you fit in.
You
can't just like look at a map and be like, oh yeah, I fit in there, because there's just so many states in the world and cities in the world that the only way to really know is to like branch out and like experience things and travel and explore, which we haven't really gotten to do, unfortunately. I feel like we are very far into our relationship and still haven't really done much traveling on our own without like family members. So that's another thing that we're wanting to try to embark, because like even coming to Austin, we weren't able to come and visit here. We've been here like when we were younger separately, but I think it would have been nice for us to come here together as a couple this long into our relationship and see it. I feel like it's been fine, but it definitely opens your eyes of like, okay, like if this isn't the place to go, I probably should actually like explore the next place before I go and just like sign a lease.
That's crazy. I think we've for sure been dealing with a lot of change. Mainly because we did move. Like this is a whole nother environment. We still don't really know many people here. We've had this like weird feeling, and I don't know if it's because we came from such an exhilarating city where like we just haven't like really cared to like explore that much. And I think it's because New York was like so stimulating and overwhelming that like we needed to just sit still.
Yeah.
And I hear a lot of people talk about that. I don't know if you guys know, she's a YouTuber named Where I Live, but I know she talked about how when she moved from New York to LA, she's been there for like, I want to say like almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
In LA. And she said she's just now, like her nervous system is
that's horrible.
Like regulating back to normal after New York because it's just horrible. New York is just so busy and like literally exhilarating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, but it does affect you and like
I do feel like I've been struggling with that.
Yeah.
Because we decided to be on the outskirts of Austin. Like, we're not downtown or anything like that. So that, I think, has played a role in my feelings of, like, my difficulty with all the change, because New York was just so hectic. And I do feel like I'm somebody that, um, I'm an introvert, but I also do get energy from other people, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And since we are on the outskirts, we're like not really near much happening. And I definitely feel like I've been struggling with like just feeling like this is my place. And we've been trying to like branch out a little bit more and like try to drive downtown and like try to be in with everybody and everything that's going on, because everything that's happening in Austin is literally downtown. It's not happening on the outskirts. So we kind of have to like travel down there to go and do things, and we've been trying to like do that more, but I think I'm just trying to toy between the portion of me that's like I feel like I amount to more than like being on the outskirts, and maybe I am a city person, but also I love being in the quiet, in the peacefulness, and I don't have to hear honking and yelling and like feel like I'm gonna be ran around after by like a homeless person or like stepping in poop, or like I don't experience that out here, and honestly that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's also a part of me that's like I am still young and I do kind of like city, suburban life, but I know now that New York is not for me, I don't think. I think there's portions of New York that I love, but to live there again, big no-no.
Yeah, we go back and forth because we'll watch our old vlogs and we're like, oh my god, we like seemed like so much more fun, I think, than here.
And I feel bad because I feel like to me, like as a creator, I feel sad that like I feel like our followers are like bored of our content.
Yeah, I feel like we were more full of energy in New York than here, and I think it's because it's so quiet and mellowed out. You're not constantly. I think like we looked more fun and energized because we were in New York, but like we also were that
still the same
energized. People. But we also were that energized and like crazy because the city was so overwhelming, and like that's not necessarily good for you. Like I was talking about like. I know we mentioned like being neurodivergent in one of our older podcasts, and someone wanted us to talk about that more, and maybe we will in another one. We don't fully know that we both actually are, but we both have like.
Well, I have a learning disability.
So
I know that for a fact, but I guess we don't know exactly
I don't know
what you
for
have.
me, but like I feel like in New York, I also felt. I think I was like funnier and like
more of life,
more bubbly because I was so overstimulated that like I like couldn't form sentences, and then I feel like I seemed funnier, but like it was because I was so overwhelmed. Yeah, you know what I mean? I can't.
So I mean, I feel like in a way, like even though I do feel bad that like I feel like sometimes our content is just kind of like very slow, like when I'm editing it. I also think it's good that like we're putting ourselves first, and we did do this because we knew that our nervous system was all over the place and that we actually needed the break that we chose to have, and that's why we chose the outskirts. We didn't just pick to live in the outskirts just randomly. That was like a well planned out situation and choice. So I don't regret it, but every now and then I am like, well damn, like if I have like any part of me that does want to like continue to do this, like I do think where you live is very important in some ways when you are like creating content.
Yeah.
Just for like your own like inspiration's sake. Like you can be successful content creator literally anywhere in the world, but I do think like if you're in the middle of Ohio, it's like hard to like want to get up every day and like do a well thought out vlog and like show everything around where you live.
What I was gonna say is that I think Austin is such an amazing city. I love
it is
that it's like a perfect mix of city and nature. Like you can be downtown, but there's like so many trails and like water and like it's beautiful
Yeah.
here. But I think a big reason why we haven't got to explore is the weather is
Oh,
so
it's horrible.
hot here. And like we knew we were moving to the south, we knew it, but like we didn't expect it to actually be this unbearable. And I think that's something we're taking into consideration
Yeah.
too, is like we kind of moved here to be outside more because in New York during the winter it's hard to be outside too.
Mhm.
And we thought we would be outside like all summer because like it's sunny and fun, but it's like
Nope.
actually brutal in the summer. So we're also taking that into consideration with like whether we stay here or not, because it's not inspiring to make all of your content inside, and just to be inside all the time anyway. So let's talk a little bit about uncertainty because I feel like that's another collective reason we're going through it.
Oh, yeah.
I think people are just like realizing like the way the economy is right now, like just nothing in life is certain. And I think that's another reason that we're all just like panicking and like, what is the right thing to be doing? And like, let's switch careers because
Nothing is certain, literally. You used to be able to go to college and you would get a degree and you were guaranteed a job out of college because you just did 4 years doing something and doing internships and you would just get the job. Like that wouldn't be like a questionable thing. But now people are getting 4-year degrees and they either don't like what they just spent 4 years doing, like me, or they are literally applying to everything and they're running out of time because like they're like moving out of their dorms, they need to get an apartment, they don't have any jobs calling them, and now they're just like in retail with a 4-year degree in something that they can't even afford to wait to get a call back from.
Or I feel like nowadays, I mean, not necessarily nowadays, I feel like this has always been a thing, but I feel like now more than ever, connections are getting people places.
Oh yeah.
But if you're someone like me who is not good at like being social and like connecting with people, I'm never gonna get a job by networking. Like that's just not
That's
how
a whole thing.
I have to just do the degree, go to school or whatever it has to be, because I'm just never gonna be able to like start a conversation and then somehow get the person to be like, oh hey, I have this opening, do you want to be in this like that would just, I don't want to say never, but like I'm just like not that person who's super social and like can just like talk about things like that.
But I think it's really sad and hard that people are putting so much money and effort into like getting loans and stuff to just like not even want to do what their career was supposed to be, or these companies are low balling so many people with 4-year degrees so bad, and it's just so sad because like you can't pay your rent and your loan and your car and whatever else you have to do on some of these like base salaries. It's crazy.
And now, oh my gosh, you know why everyone's probably collectively going through it too? Because now student loan repayment is starting.
Yeah.
After
It's
being
scary.
paused for like 3 years, and
it's terrifying.
I'm not even kidding. I did one semester of school, like kind of during the pandemic, because I wanted to go back, but I just wasn't. I don't think I was like fully ready to be back in school yet. Like it takes a lot of brain power and commitment to be in school, and I just wasn't there yet. And that one semester, like I have like $3,000 of student loans.
That's literally a scam.
And like technically, like I know that that's very much nothing.
But like one semester for
Yeah.
3,000, that's crazy.
I mean, it still sucks that it's money that I owe, and I haven't. And it's also silly because I had 3 years to save up just the $3,000. Like that, people are like in $100,000 of debt. You know, like 3,000 is really nothing, and I probably could have saved up and just been done with it, but for some reason I didn't do that. So now that's something I have to tackle, but I think that's another reason people are like stressed out too, is because that pause is over. Now that's another expense that's happening. And things like that too make me worried because I do want to go back to school eventually, but seeing that like I have to pay that money back, obviously
just to do it all over again,
coming no matter what. But like actually about like the fact that I'm about to pay that off and start
Mm.
tackling that, I'm like, wow, being not in debt feels so good. It doesn't feel good to have to constantly owe money to someone.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, ooh, do I want to go back to school and
And
like
then that's
feel that
also
again?
causing some people that do have degrees to go into like the social media world or the freelance world and like be photographers and influencers and stuff. And they're still somehow getting themselves into debt that way because being a freelancer is not cookie cutter at all. It is really hard out here, especially in this economy. I feel like being a freelancer was always hard, but I definitely feel like it was easier before the economy was like this. And like there wasn't as much um, competition in literally everything. Like there's competition in social media, there's competition in photography. There's so many different things. Like I feel like everyone is starting a clothing line all of a sudden, like all
I was just
together.
gonna
And
say,
like I'm like, why do we need all of these different stores that are online? Like I just feel like, and everyone's just like, it's not even like there's certain people that are like making things that are like really cool and unique, but there's so many companies I'm seeing that are literally like drop shipping like just blanks. Like there's just literal like blank t-shirts like over and over and over again. Like this company just sells blank t-shirts and blank hoodies, and this one also does blank t-shirts and blank hoodies, and this one also like I'm like, why do we need like 2,500?
there's too many humans
It's
on the
just the
earth.
same thing over and over again. I'm
There's
like,
too many people on the earth. I feel like when I
there's
was like a
just
kid, like obviously I was a kid and I didn't think about these things or like gauge things, but like I can just like feel like that there was a
claustrophobic.
shift in like how many people, and you can
Because
see
people
it
just
like,
had babies like no tomorrow in COVID.
well, yeah, and I think just like the generation before us had so many baby. I don't know what it is, but there's so many people,
So many people, and somehow everyone has the same exact interest.
and like I don't know if you realize because, um, I mean, we do live not directly in the city of Austin, like we're not downtown. And like where we live, there are so many houses constantly being built. But like um my one of my family members that used to live here said that like this all was just grass like a few years ago, and it's just so scary that you can take such a little
Yeah.
area
Yeah.
and like it's just like exploded with like people.
Yeah, but now I feel like since there are so many people and there's so many people that have similar interests, literally everything is hard to get into. Tech, there is so much
Yes.
layoffs. There's like
Social media,
everyone wants to do tech
like
now, and like no one can keep a job because the companies have way too many people. But now there's too many people in influencing, and there's too many people in the doctor's office, and there's too like you literally have no place for anything.
no, I was gonna say social media and the fact that like everybody is an influencer now.
Yeah.
But like people that actually like went to school and are in like marketing, like every other TikTok I see is like, here's the day of my life as a social media marketing manager. And it's just like there's so many of everybody doing the same jobs, and like I feel like I feel in a way hopeless like going to school and doing all the work and paying all of that back, and I'm like, there's so many fields that are just oversaturated.
Literally everything. Like
So it
it's not
feels
even
kinda
just
like
social media. Like tech is so oversaturated. But that's like one of the greatest jobs I think you can have right now. But because everybody knows that, everyone's doing it. So now there's like only so many little jobs and companies that you can work for, and if
And
they
it also scares me a little bit because like I am wanting to go into tech because I just feel like it fits me so well.
Yeah.
But I also get scared because like thinking about like coding and stuff like is very interesting to me, and I like really want to get into that and like learn it. But I'm also like, in a couple years, wouldn't there just be like a
just
robot?
AI, literally.
Yeah, like
I mean, they're doing it already. There's like I think I showed you those like DoorDash robots. Like they don't even need drivers anymore. In LA, they like literally have like a robot deliver your food to you. Like it's literally driving in the street You have self-driving cars that we saw downtown. We like eventually you're not even going to need customer service people. Things are just going to end up fixing themselves. Like I feel like tech is not even
It's
really
scary
going
to
to
think
be
about.
a thing. You're not going to need someone to like go behind the scenes and code something. It's just going to code itself
Yeah.
or just not work.
Yeah, that like worries me a
It's
lot. Like I think
terrifying
about that a lot, and then it just
for
like
everything.
sends me into a spiral, and I'm just like, what can I do that's like going to be consistent? But you really can't ever have like that control in anything.
I think that's why I'm in a portion of my life where I just feel like right now I just need to make enough money for my rent because I just feel like
Yeah.
nothing actually feels certain in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Like me working in retail is not certain because the turnover rate is ridiculous. Me being a doctor, I honestly could end up just being the only doctor in the country because everyone wants to be an influencer or is already just burnt out from being a doctor because there are no doctors anymore. And then me doing tech, a robot can do it. Eventually they're going to have robots doing surgery. Like I just feel like there's really nothing that's certain. Like it used to be like you go to school, you do this internship, you will get X, Y, and Z. But it's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of internships don't even pay.
I think
And
also,
it's like, how are you doing an internship and not getting paid? But you need X amount of hours for the internship. So then you are missing out on work where you're actually getting paid. But you need an internship in order to like join this new job.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting paid, you can't pay rent. What were you going to say? Wow.
Not to trigger anyone that's also in this area, but I think another crisis that we're having is that we both are also about to enter our 30s.
Yeah.
And like, not that that should be scary, because I feel like honestly we'll feel more stable in our 30s, but like I think there's like
it's a sadness of like your 20s ending.
Yeah, I guess so. But I think for me, I feel like a slight more pressure than normal to like kind of figure out what I'm doing. And you can never like know what's the right answer because you might think something's right and then in your 40s you switch careers again. But I think because my 20s I haven't really done anything to necessarily grow myself. Like some people like went to college and like they're in a job and like because of that job they can find out what they want to do and whatever. But like I've just been doing kind of like silly little jobs. Yeah. So like I feel like a little bit more of a pressure to like figure things out. Yeah. And I think our last podcast where we were at the yurt, we talked a little bit about like how in a relationship you grow and change. Yeah. And you have to accept each other at every stage of that change. Yep. We've kind of realized a little bit, at least for Isabel, I feel like I've realized in her because you're only a year older than me, but I do feel like
I'm 26, so I'm like at closer. The cusp of after 25.
Yeah, you're like all right. You're actually in your late 20s. Yeah. I'm still like
it does make so much of a difference, even though it's only 1 year.
But I'm noticing like change in you where I think like you really wanted to do social media. You still do. Mm-hmm. But I think having to realize that like if it's not working for people with 1 million followers,
it's going to be a long journey for me.
It's going to take some work for us to continue that. And I think with me kind of slipping out of it, I feel like it's like hurt you a little bit. Not necessarily hurt you, but like I feel like you're feeling like, is this something that's like slipping away from me? Yeah. Because it's your passion. Mm-hmm. And I think, but like rightfully so, I feel like it's so good to have a passion, but it just kind of sucks that we started this passion together. Yeah. This like you do your own social media and I do my own too, but like we have like a business out of this.
Well, but I think we also just went so hard because we wanted to do this so bad when we moved here. Like we had a whole like we didn't have an actual vision board, but I feel like in our brains we had one, and it was just like from day one, like we just went hard on like the moving content and just everything because we actually genuinely wanted to do this like full time and like enjoy it. But I definitely feel like it took a toll on us, and maybe it's because we went way too hard and we shouldn't have done that. but I do think things have just changed so much. I feel like I'm in like a world where I'm like stressed that I'm almost 30, but I also am like stressed because I feel like I didn't do enough. Like
Yeah.
meaning like actually enjoyed my
Your 20s.
20s.
Yeah, I think, okay, so because we're both introverts and we definitely are a little bit codependent on each other, I feel
Yeah,
like we both have missed out on like
a lot.
the friend experience. And I think like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I've just like never had a lot of friends. And so I kind of just feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel necessarily sad that I don't have many friends. But I
Hmm.
think that you're experiencing like the missing out on that part.
Yeah.
And because you're an introvert, I think it's hard for you to put yourself out there.
Oh, yeah.
And
But I can't make friends with you next to me.
yeah,
That's
this
not
could
gonna
be a whole
work.
other episode. I'm gonna have to write this down as an
Yeah.
idea. But I think I can like see a shift in Isabel, and we were talking the other day because I was like, I think like you're going through a growth spurt, and like
Yeah.
you have like periods in your life where that happens, like whether it's like during puberty where like things change, like your life changes a little bit.
Hmm.
I feel like I don't hear people talking about like the shift from your 20s to 30s. And even though we still have like 4 or
Hmm.
5 years until we're actually 30, I can see that you are going through it. And like Isabel doesn't really get sad. Usually I'm the one who's sad, but like
Yeah.
she's been a little bit more mellow, and I think it's because
I
you're
think I've
thinking
just
about
isolated myself too much. Like, I don't
Mhm.
know how that happened. I think it just literally naturally occurred. And then now we moved away from like all of our friends that we've created. And I feel like now it's scary because I am so isolated and introverted that now I'm too scared to like go anywhere or like go downtown and like be somewhere without you, which is codependency. And I'm really trying to like stop that because it's horrible. Um, but I do like remember like in New York, like when we were living there, we would get asked to like hang out places all the time, but like we both didn't want to. And like that felt fine because like I would actually rather be at home. But like things like going to concerts and like having like our groups of friends that we used to
Yeah.
have, like I actually really enjoyed that because it was like this group that I had that like we could go to different places and travel the world and like these people would have like the same interests as me versus like I feel like local friends, it feels so intense and serious of like, oh, so what are you doing for work? Or like, what do you like to do? Like,
Yeah.
like it just feels so like intense. But like concert friends is like, they don't care what you do for work because everyone's like
Just
calling
trying to
out
have
and
a
just
good
like,
time.
yeah. But like, I feel like if I were to make friends now, it'd be like, oh, so what do you do
For
for
work,
work?
what
And
projects are you working on?
I
That
just
kind of
I don't
thing.
like
Yeah.
that. It like makes me anxious because I feel like I'm just not in the right spot. No matter
Mhm.
what job I would be doing, I would just feel like, oh wow, like you're way ahead of me, or you have way more money than me, or
Yeah.
and I just didn't feel any of that pressure when we were hanging out with like our concert people.
Yeah, very true.
So I do feel like maybe I'm missing that
I think that's
portion.
also kind of why like we've been spiraling like with thinking of like did we make the wrong decision by leaving New York? Did we just need like a little month break from it?
Yeah, it was just comfortable. We had so many friends there, like Jimmy and all of them, but then also like 27 and all of them. Like it's just like a lot of years of memories and family, and it was comfortable.
And like I think like our second choice of like a city to live in would feel somewhat the same way as this because
Yeah,
it's on the outskirts also. But it's hard because I feel like part of us likes the outskirts, but I do feel
yeah.
like you're more of a city person who needs to be in like that energetic space. And I feel like that's kind of hard because
I feel like it's a mix though.
it is
Like
a
I
mix,
feel
but
like because I'm out of it, I'm like, oh, I really want that, but I don't know if I actually do want that because I'm also anxious and driving in busyness scares me.
but I think that like in New York, if you didn't like the city, you just stayed home, but you were still in the city. But here
Yeah.
we're just not in anything, so you just constantly want it. But at least if you're
Yeah.
just in it, you have it. You have access.
Well, I
to
guess
it.
driving versus not driving is different because I do feel like in New York, there were a few times, not many, but there were a few times where I actually did go places without you. and
Yeah,
I
you
felt
did, yeah.
fine. I was just like going
Yeah.
through the city, but because I was walking. Like I feel like now, if I were to see something downtown and I would want to go, I probably wouldn't because I'm so anxious driving.
I think of this movie because I genuinely love this movie, but Someone Great with who's the actors? I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I know.
Gina
Yeah,
or whatever. I love that movie, by the way. But like Gina and then the boyfriend, they break up because she wants to go to San Francisco and he wants to stay in New York, and
two different.
they just
Like,
you as you grow and evolve, you want different things in life, and I feel like that's something that we're sort of experiencing. But we would never break up
no.
to like go and chase dreams or something like that. Like if you wanted to be in a city, I would just go with you, or whatever. Or we would go somewhere close to a city so that we both have a benefit of it. You
But
know?
I also like. I actually don't know if I'm like a city person.
I think you are, babe.
I don't know if I am though.
I think you're
Like,
a homebody, but
a
I think
city
you like.
person that has to drive in the city, I don't think I am. Like if I were to go to LA and I would have to drive X amount of miles by myself if I wanted to go somewhere, I don't think I would. I'd be so scared and so anxious of
eventually
the
you would.
driving. I don't think I would.
I think eventually
Because then
you
I would have to drive, and then I'd have to find parking, and then I have to
Mhm.
make sure the car is still there, and then I'd be so stressed by myself.
But I think you forget that before we were together, you drove all the time by yourself.
But I wasn't I wasn't in a city.
I know,
I
but-
literally tried to avoid the city of Poughkeepsie because of parking.
But you're scared to drive here by yourself.
I know. So that would be even
Like
worse.
doing DoorDash, like if we even dip into like an area,
No.
freaks out, and I'm like, we're not even like in it though.
But that's exactly what I mean. I feel like I wouldn't.
But I think you just get yourself worked up. I think you could do it. You just are like, oh my, you just like freak out. But you know how to drive.
Yeah, but
the
it's
car.
scary. I feel like you would be scared as well to go somewhere by yourself in LA with the car.
I'd be nervous the first time, but like after the first time, you're like, oh, okay, I did it. I can do this. We're typically always on the same page with things, but like this is like a big life decision kind of thing. And like,
Yeah.
I'm someone who, I think we're both very flexible because we just love each other.
But I feel like I do like calmness like this.
Yeah,
but maybe not for long periods of time. Like I need something in between to like fuel me. But
Yeah.
you don't. Like you can live like this forever.
I could, and I don't think I realized that until moving
Mhm.
here because New York was so crazy, and I adapted to living there, and then I was like, oh, I love New York.
Yeah.
But now that I am not in New York, I'm like, wow, that was actually really insane and a lot and overwhelming and overstimulating.
Yeah.
And now I'm just sitting here, and it's so
And
quiet.
enjoying it.
But like I like a little thrill every once in a while, like doing something or going
Yeah.
somewhere. But like,
But you don't need that as much.
yeah. And I think I realized that because even going to the freaking Mueller's farmers market, that
it was a lot.
it was just a farmers market, but like the crowds and the people there was really overwhelming to me, which is so weird because I lived in New York City in Manhattan,
and every day was overwhelming.
But I think it was because I had to actually just adapt to being in that. But here, I am just here.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
And I just occasionally go into it. So I think that's why it was so overwhelming because I haven't been in a crowd before in a while like that.
This is very interesting too.
Very interesting.
But I do feel like I would be more creative there.
I think I will say
inspired.
like I do think you're a city person. I think like even though you're an introvert and like you might not want to like hang out with people, I do think you being near a lot of people inspires you. You said that the other day when we were in East Austin.
Yeah, I like radiate. This is so funny because I did tell her this because I feel like I'm like introverted but I'm extroverted at the same time. Like if like I'm not going to talk to you, but if you talk to me, I can hold a conversation or like try my best to at least.
I cannot.
And I feel like since I don't like to have conversations with people, that sounds so bad, but like I'm just like anxious sometimes. But because I'm so anxious, I like get energy around being around other people my age. But you are the total opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm more anxious around people my age. Like if a 50-year-old woman comes up to me and talks to me,
you will talk to her all night.
I could talk to her all. I could talk to her all night.
Right.
But it's true. But when it's someone in their 20s, immediate, like, I'm doing something wrong, I'm weird, I'm behind, and I'm
See,
weird.
I radiate around their energy.
Yeah,
Depends
you
on
do.
who they are, though. Like, I don't like
No,
the
but
partying, like,
you don't
scene.
you don't like to party, but like you like people that like to party. Because when we go to events or something, you love that you're in the scene of that.
Yeah.
You just don't like to do it often. That's
Yeah.
literally what, like, you're like an ambivert. You're in the middle where, like,
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, that's like the middle. Like,
Okay.
you're not, you probably won't spark up a conversation, and you do need your time alone at home to recharge.
Oh, yeah. Like, if I hang out with someone, I need like a week to recharge. Like, you don't ask me to hang out again.
Yeah,
like,
but like when you leave the function, you feel really good about yourself.
Yes, and
But
you leave like with tears in your eyes, which is horrible. It's like, I wish that we were able to like be on the same wavelength with that.
Yeah, but that's just normal.
Yeah.
But I think that like we at least have a good balance, because if you were a complete extrovert, it would be very different. I would actually be at home and you would be out and about all the time, and like
we
that's
would
just
have
what it
two
would be.
different lives.
I also felt like a sense of goodness being around people made me feel like I was a part of something, even if I had no like attachment to it. Like if I was like, I was in no club, I had
just like a
no
fly on the wall,
friends.
basically.
Yeah, but like the fact that I was just in it and around things and around people made me feel better.
That's how I feel.
Here,
it's just nothing.
I'm not around. I'm not in anything or attached to anything either, but like I'm not around anybody to make me feel included. And I think like feeling included like in your city is like a nice thing, even if you don't fully immerse yourself into it. Yeah. We're all collectively going through it, and if you are like, what am I doing right now? You're not alone. And
literally.
I think we just need to take things day by day, because the world is heavy. It's been heavy the last few years specifically, and there's just frankly nothing we can do about it besides take it day by day and just try to enjoy what we do have. I think gratitude is very important.
Gratitude is a huge thing, and that's not to say that anyone is ungrateful, but I do think that with social media and TV and all these things, like you just always want what you don't have, and then you get that, and then you wanted the thing that you had before, and it's like you can never just be happy with what's happening right now. And I feel like we've been dealing with that so much of like, oh, I want social media as a job so bad. You get it. Like a lot of people don't get to have this as a job ever. It's like, that's not an option. And then it's like, oh, well, this is so bad. Like brands aren't paying me. This isn't happening. But like, we literally just got to spend 6 months out of the year together. Just doing nothing. And that is such a luxury. And even though it would have been nice to like continue the rest of the 6 months of the year, it's like, there's so many people that are never even going to be able to make that like a try. Yeah. So like, I think just stepping back and just recognizing like, okay, things could be better, but like, here's the things that I'm really happy about in my life. Even if it's just down to as simple as like being able to afford groceries in your fridge. Even if everything else in your life is just horrible, if you were able to afford groceries or like afford to pay like your rent for that month and you get to have a roof over your head for the next month, like it can just be that simple. Yeah. Or if you can't afford rent and you can't afford groceries, but you woke up today to try again to make money some way, somehow. It's sometimes you just have to step back and just recognize, okay, like something that I have right now, someone else is struggling to get. Yeah. And
I think when you step back and like you strip away material things too, you're able to just like feel better, because I do think when all hell is breaking loose and like you literally can't grasp like any of the problems.
Literally just pictured hell breaking loose.
I'm picturing like me saying like I can't grasp any of like the stressful things. I'm literally picturing like my car making noises and then like money, like a stack, and I can't reach them. Like it's I can't. Rough when you just can't solve any of your problems, you just need to pick one to start with. And I always hear that the best way to do that is to pick with the easiest problem to solve, because then that's something off of your checklist immediately, and then just go down the line. And I think like when you do that and you accept that like I can't fix all of this all at
There's
once.
some things you just can't change right now.
Yeah. I think you just have to pick one and let that be your problem. The rest can come later.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it just has to come later.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else you can do. And then just try to enjoy the time that you do have, because we were starting to drive ourselves crazy just
for no reason. Like
thinking
we're
about all
literally
this.
in a lease. You can't break it.
Yeah.
Like
So now
it
we've
was-
just tried to step back and just like been like, we don't know what we're doing next, and it just doesn't matter because
But
we
we're
can't
here
change
now.
it. So like let's just like have a picnic and like explore the city we
Yeah.
are in. And like I think sometimes you just have to do that and like put the rest to the side.
Mhm.
Try something new.
Yeah,
Like
which
we
is
were
what we're
thinking
doing.
of going to pickleball the other day. We want to try to do some type of like Austin free yoga
activities. Yeah.
Like take advantage of the things that your city offers,
Mhm.
and just kind of like, I know this might sound bad in a way, but like I do think it's good to try to distract yourself from what's going wrong in your life, because I
Yeah.
think focusing on it too much will just bring you down so bad. So that is my advice. Do you
I
have
agree.
anything else to add?
No, I think it's good to just live in the moment. And I know a lot of people's moments right now are really difficult and stressful and overwhelming. And it feels like if you don't do this, X, Y, and Z are going to break and everything's going to be ruined. But I really do think like what you said was perfect, of just like, just try to live in the moment, try to like distract yourself if you can, because there's certain things like not having rent money is a very stressful thing, because if you don't have a house or a home or a roof over your head, that's going to bring so many other issues. But since like if you feel like you can't fix that problem, I feel like sometimes it is good to just be delusional and like act like everything is fine, and just at least give yourself a day to just like fuck it, I'm just gonna get DoorDash, or I'm gonna treat myself one way or another, or like go for a nice little walk, even if you didn't have the money. It's just sometimes it's what you have to do as a human,
To
because
survive,
there's certain
yeah.
things that you can't change, and it's sad, but it's also just like just try not to compare yourself to people, because and we've preached this in almost every episode, but I really want it to like get in all of your guys' brains, because there are so many people that I thought were perfectly well in their life and everything was going great, and they are literally struggling to make ends meet, but they make things seem so perfect on Instagram and all these like perfect picturesque apps that are out nowadays. And it just really goes to show that like you can have all the money, you can have all the materialistic things, the new Tesla, the new car, the new house, and those things just don't matter.
They don't
In
matter.
the end, what matters is like your loved ones and how you feel about yourself as a person. Like when you are just trying to like show off all these materialistic things to people, but you're not happy within your own self and your own body, it's like there's just no point. So I think the most important thing is just to love yourself and make sure that you're taking care of yourself and your health. And like if you need like a social media break, whether you're doing this as a job or not, I think you should allow yourself to have those moments, because that doesn't mean that you're falling behind, or that you're yeah, it doesn't mean that you're falling behind in life. It just, if you need that moment to yourself, then you should grant yourself that, because you don't deserve to make yourself feel horrible.
Beautifully said, babe.
Thank you, man.
Well, I think that's a wrap on this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to follow us on Mutual Minds and Isabel and Tamera.
Yeah.
Literally everywhere. And these episodes are always on our YouTube if you want to watch the visual of them. But yeah, we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Thanks for listening.